So welcome to whatever this is. It's episode 722 of the Sales Podcast. Maybe the last one. Maybe I just keep rolling and rename it. But I get into this with Jeremy and I ask him right off the bat. But Jeremy Shapiro, a good friend of mine, I've known for many years through the Infusionsoft community. I've got a few guys coming back to back from that space. And the reason for the confusion, I scheduled him to be on for the sales podcast, and literally in a matter of a week or so, I'm retooling a lot of things. I've been talking a little bit about AI, and I'm finally getting my brain wrapped around it of how we can do this, how mere mortals can use AI in sales and in business. And I've always focused on solopreneurs, B2 salespeople, sales managers, small business owners. Hey, do y'all use Be Real? You know what? I'm going to keep going. Be Real is kind of cool. I don't think I've never done an interview or an episode of using Be Real. So I'm going to take a picture. Oh, let me look over here. So you have 2 minutes to take a picture. You have to be real. But so I got that done. So I've had these folks scheduled, but I've been talking with them. Like I said, I'm wrapping my brain around the realities of AI and its potential. And just like with Infusionsoft, HubSpot, Entrepreneurial, how to use automation in everyday life by mere mortals without getting bound down and stuck and tied down to onerous contracts from fat cat consultants. I'm running into this with the military, talking with some classmates of mine, some deals. Could be the beginning of something big, could be a goat rope, but so many consultants just milking the government, and it's irritating me. I'm doing it at my alma mater, right back there, irritating me. So I got some classmates up there, so we shall see. Hegseth and Doge and everything else, efficiencies, but I digress. I'm sick of the sycophants of the leeches in all walks of life, in all industries. And, I've been wrapping my brain around things literally for years. Like, what do I want to sell? What do I want to go to market with? What am I great at? What does the world need? And I think now more than ever, they need transparency, authenticity, all those overused words, right? These people throw this stuff out there and they don't mean it. So Jeremy, he's got a new book out. We talk about that, but I ask him about these things, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more. So I may rename this podcast. I may start a new one and link over to that, discuss AI and sales, because the concept is not just to be an AI geek. It's like, give me a specific tool, a specific way that you do AI. And I already did the conclusion for this, but I have Jason Benedict. Again, I've known him through Infusionsoft for many years, and he gives us some specific examples of what you can do affordably to use AI right now. So it may become like a daily podcast, but there's so many tools out there, right? But it's not to give you 30-minute and 1 hour deep dives. It's just, here's a potential. Here's something that might interest you, and something you could deploy quickly and affordably and have a fast ROI. I'm talking, months, if not weeks, or even days. And because again, once you get used to building these things, the first few are going to be hard, just like with anything. But as you get some reps in, it gets easier and easier and easier. Okay. So I already had Jason on. So I interviewed Jeremy just a couple days ago, Jason yesterday. So I'm going to compress these, the time schedules. I'm several weeks behind. It's been 3 weeks since I published an episode, which is abnormal. I've had some gaps here and there. I get pitched so much, and they're all using AI. They're using these scraping tools, and they're finding lists, and they're using email marketing and just cold pitching and charging a premium price. Okay, that's fine. But you can do this yourself. I'm seeing how for not much money, you can have your own database, your own contact locator, contact enrichment, right? Fill in all the fields, all the relevant, important fields, social media, email, phone, address, whatever. And then, drip out 5-10 emails a day on your own behalf for not much money. Okay. So that's why I don't do magic tricks. I like showing people how it's done. That's how I've done my CRM sales for so many years. I would get so irritated. People would come to me when they paid thousands of dollars to a developer to build these complex campaigns, and then they'd hand them over without really teaching them. And now they were beholden to use that developer forever, or they'd come to me. and I'd unpack the thing, show them how to use it, and give it back to them. I'm happy to work with clients for years and years and years, but I want you to want to work with me, not feel like you have to, right? Like you're forced. Anyway, long intro. I'm headed to jiu-jitsu. Been teaching the kids class on Mondays and Thursdays and helping out. And there's some things coming out that I discovered about that. So I'll make that announcement once it's official. So I'll do that tomorrow. All right. But hey, thanks for tuning in. And you're in for a treat. There were some issues you'll notice. I'm doing this in black and white right now, different angle, got a new microphone. I'm getting a new headset probably, but man, I ordered a new camera. It didn't fix the issue. So I don't know, changing lighting, changing settings, changing autofocus. There's always something. But what are you going to do? Quit, or you figure it out and push on. All right. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Now let's get on to our interview with Jeremy Shapiro. Jeremy Shapiro, getting his groove on, author, philanthropist, serial entrepreneur, advisor, investor, mastermind facilitator, cyclist, and author of YourBusinessGrowthPlaybook.com. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
Doing fantastic, Wes. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm excited to be here and longtime listener of the show and love all that the Sales Whisperer has to offer.
Man, yeah, flattery will get you everywhere. I was looking you up, man. I got to scroll all the way. I thought I had it pulled up. I did have it pulled up, but then, we had some technical stuff. You were episode 183, if memory, yeah. March 1st, 2016, 9+ years ago.
And look at us, still here, still kicking.
Still kicking, man. So, I didn't tell you this. I was waiting to spring this on you live because I'm like those ambush investigative reporters, right? And get the cameras recording. So this is a transitioning kind of podcast. And I'm going to get your take live, okay? Because I may shift my focus, my emphasis more on AI. So this could be like one of the last sales podcast episodes, or I just blend it, maybe do I rename it like Selling with AI podcast? But what's your take on AI? We're going to get into your history and all that, because we've known each other, 10 years, 15 years through Infusionsoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a long time. Have you always been in San Francisco?
I mean, at this point for about 20-ish years. So
okay. So
for a long time, I'd always call myself like an East Coast transplant, but we identify as Californian.
All right. Yeah. My son's up there. He's up near the Presidio.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Right up in the city.
Up there.
Gorgeous area.
He's been up there since 2015. Oh, he traveled the world with his school, but okay. Anyway, so AI, man, I'm going to drop this right on you. We didn't discuss this. What's your take on it?
Well, it's here. Right.
It's here to stay.
That's evolving and becoming better at a faster rate than anyone can really write about this. Whatever we say right now, someone coming back and listening to this will be like, reading a 10-year-old time capsule.
Will be outdated. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And, but you've known me a long time. It takes me a minute to figure stuff out. But when I do, I'm pretty damn dangerous once I figure it out. Yeah. And it literally in the last few weeks, like I'm seeing the power, kind of like with Infusionsoft back in the day. I was telling my wife, 2008, I stumbled across Infusionsoft. I was like, man, wait, what? I can automate all this stuff? What you talking about, Willis?
Wes, do you remember the story of when I first found those guys?
Uh-uh.
So I was at a conference for a business I had at the time where the entire back end, the entire CRM, email marketing, e-commerce, we'd all written by hand from scratch in-house. Yeah, would never recommend this.
Are you a coder, like by trade?
Recovered.
Okay. Well, so were you doing the development?
Yeah.
And leading it? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We built all that out. So you think, recurring transactions, email marketing, event registrations, upsells, sales pages. I mean, all of it we built from scratch. And at the conference, I met these two guys who just launched a company, and they're building this thing called a CRM, which I know you talk about a fair amount, right? And, I'm having this conversation and I'm realizing that the entire infrastructure of the business could be someone else's problem. And I could just focus on building a business while someone else dealt with everything under the hood. And I love that idea, but I also realized converting over the entire business from our homegrown CRM to a third-party hosted software as a service CRM was not a task for the faint of heart. So my commitment to them is, I said, the next business I launch, because, we're serial entrepreneurs. I said, the next business I launch, I'm launching it on your CRM. And that way I can just focus on building a business. And that's exactly what we did. And so when we launched that next business, it was built entirely on a CRM, and we could just focus on building a business. And that was awesome. So yeah, you and I have been around since the early days with them.
Yeah, technology is crazy, right? It's good, it's bad. It's we're talking about how this applies to your book, right? And what you do. But I tell people this feels like 1995. Oh, there goes my camera. 95, maybe, 98. Bill Gates is coming out. Windows 95. He wrote that book about, um, what's coming, with the internet. How can I zoom myself? If y'all are just listening, then you're not getting vertigo. Something's going on with my camera. Oh, well. But still to this day, right? 1995, he's saying the internet's going to change everything. And there's still people that barely get online. The iPhone comes out in 2007. I'm updating an old post. I show people how to use text replacement. I literally can
I'm a huge fan of that.
Still a huge
in
fan.
all your programs, I love it.
And dude, I can kick the most salespeople's butts sitting at a stoplight, right, with two thumbs with my predictive text. If you just not even predictive text, my short codes, right?
Yeah.
I have bios. I have all of my YouTube hashtag, my cell phone, right? Anything. It's like you can easily type in a wrong email, or you can fat finger it. Like, I didn't get your stuff. Well, you fat fingered it, right? So email address, my EIN, my TIA, traveling number. All of it. People still don't use that today. So AI is going to change everything. Yeah, for the bleeding edge people and those who can convey the message, which most cannot.
Yeah. And you also have to keep in mind here as well, like in any way that AI is helping you, right? Is it helping you to deliver the message in your voice and your style, trained on your material, right? Or is it providing the average of what everyone else is doing and a generic version of what you're trying to do, right? So if you're coming out the gate and you don't have your voice, your brand, your style, your content, how much can it help you? Just like I'm sure you've seen, Wes, the predictive responses to your emails or text messages and whatnot. How do those compare to your shortcuts that you've trained that are built on the things you want to say in the moment?
Yeah. Well, my shortcuts are just, it's funny. I sent a friend of mine an email yesterday, and she says, "Oh, did you write? Is that AI?" And she thought it was an AI summary. I'm like, "No, I wrote that." Don't tell a writer, is that AI? I'm like, I'm gonna come through this phone. No, but I'm seeing just so many people. I don't know, man. It feels like just a few years ago with NFTs. You got to this. You need a Bored Ape. Like, okay, but nobody could explain why. Right? It's just because everybody else is doing it, and you saw where that went, right? And
well,
obviously,
you're
AI
always
is here
going
to
to have
stay. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you'll always have your early adopters, right? Who get in, who can't explain why, but are going to adopt early. And that can often give you an edge, or you end up jumping down a rabbit hole of something that doesn't matter. And you don't know till you get in, right? And your later stage early adopters get some advantage with someone else proving the way. But as things get out there, more mass market and more for the larger audience, it doesn't mean it's gone. But just like your example before about there's some people still not online, some people who still don't have a smartphone, you'll always have your folks who are just never going to adapt to, or adapt to whatever is coming out. And that's not your market. That's not who you're selling to. Right. So when we talk about getting out there and go sell something, right? Your early adopters, you don't have to finish your pitch before they say, yeah, I'm in. But the larger audience overall, right? How do you communicate to them? Yeah. How do you dial your messaging in so you do get it out?
So do you get into that with your book? Because your book is coming out. We're recording this end of July. It's coming out in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
So business growth playbook. How much does sales play into business growth?
Yeah, a lot, right? But you and I have bookshelves full of books teaching about, sales and marketing and how to get more qualified leads. There it is, right?
That's just one bookshelf.
Right. Yeah. I have my quick access bookshelf right behind me here, but elsewhere I have the bigger, larger catalogs, right? So look, and there's so many books on how to build your audience and do better and more marketing and fill the funnel with qualified leads more. That's great. So your business growth playbook is for a business owner who already has a business, right? You already have leads and sales coming in. You figured out your messaging, right? But what got you to where you are now isn't getting you to where you want to go. So we look at all we can do with your existing flow so we can increase that customer lifetime value, right? And we can do a lot more with what you're already doing. If you're like an early stage founder or you're thinking of starting a business, there are other books that will get you off the ground.
All right, man. Stand by. I am having some audio difficulties. All right, so let's see if the technology gods stick with us and the gremlins go away. So people are crazy. Most entrepreneurs hate sales and marketing. It seems like they are always starting over again and again and again. Right? Why don't people stick with what worked? Do they get bored? You know what? Because I tell people all the time, it's hard to get started and nobody has the time to do this stuff, at least to begin, right? And I'm having this conversation with all of my clients, but I say, look at what you do 2 or 3 times a day or 4 or 5 times a week and have a process for it and ideally automate it. And I was talking to a kid last night, a friend of my daughter's. He's getting into AI and he's like, give me some examples. I'm running out of ideas. And I'm like, running out of ideas? I said, okay, but here's the deal. Everybody thinks they have to make these big nuclear bombs of automation. And I'm like, bruh, that's the new word. All the kids taught me that, bruh. My 11-year-old says, bruh.
Remember when you were a
I
dad?
may not have an 11-year-old soon. But anyway, I digress. But like, look at the smallest, tiniest, most tedious, nagging thing. I said, if you hear somebody say twice in a day, twice in 2 days, this bothers them, go automate that. Why do people make stuff so hard?
You know, it's interesting when I look at entrepreneurs, right, who have gotten out there and successfully done this, there's sort of 3 checkpoints I look at that tells me you are going to be an entrepreneur, right? The first, if you look at all of us, where others just see things as they are, we see the gaps, we see the opportunities, we see how something could be better, right? Sometimes we're accused of having like that, like, ooh, shiny syndrome where we're distracted. That actually is what allows us to see that gap in the marketplace and the opportunity. So that's that first thing, right? Others walk on by, we see what could be better. The second thing is we see a solution. We see what we could do to actually fix that. Where others might see a problem and complain, we see a problem and create the idea for how to solve that, right? But the third piece, this is what tells us if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur or not, is the third is that you actually go out there and do something about it. See, others might never see the problem. Some might see the problem and complain about it. Some might see the problem, have an idea about it, and do nothing with it. But you, as a successful entrepreneur, see the problem as an opportunity, create the solution, and then go out there and build a business on that, right? So yeah, distractibility comes with being an entrepreneur, but that's why we are, because we see the opportunities.
Yeah. And I'm sick of the whole, everybody's got something, ADHD, blah, 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 overcome trauma, like whatever. It's like, one good excuse can last you a lifetime of mediocrity, right? Like,
I got a bucket of excuses.
just get up and grind. Like, good grief. But it's like I was telling this kid last night, I'm building an agent right now to clean up my posts. Because I'll write something, post it on LinkedIn. I usually start there because I'm limited on LinkedIn. I don't want to make it an article. I want to make it a post. And so that's my shortest, because I can copy that and expand it on Facebook, expand it on Substack, expand it on Twitter, wherever. But when you write on there, it's the markdown language, I guess. You probably know better than me. So it adds whatever, carriage returns. So when I copy and paste it to Facebook, it adds 2 or 3 returns. So now I got to go delete. And I usually write 1 sentence in 2 lines, so not a big deal in the big scheme of things. But if I have to go and delete 20, 30, 40 returns and do that 4 times, I'm like,
that's not a good use of your day.
That's a pain in the butt, right? So I'm like, let me ask ChatGPT. And I'm sure people, oh, you should use Claude. You should use Gemini. What? Shut up, right? Use whatever. But so it gives me an idea. Well, now it's building a workflow and a table for me in Notion. So now I can take that and have the template and then blah, 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 clone it, next, and then give me all the proper formatting. So I'm trying to explain that to him. I'm like, I'm not saving the world from global thermonuclear, destruction. I'm cleaning up some carriage returns. But I bet I can sell that for $50, $100. I don't know, $200. But it's, have you ever even thought of fixing that? What's the value of writing once and having proper formats for 4 or 5 different platforms? How much does that expand your reach? So yeah, you can go build it if you have time. I mean, I've gotten stuck. Now I'm a day behind because I have it mostly done, but then life gets in the way. I got to do stuff, and so I'm like, go build a bunch of those. I said, you're still in an office. You got 20 people working in your office. Just look at what 20 people do every day and build an agent.
It's funny when we talk about like the automation and the agents, a classic problem I've seen with business owners is, and you've probably experienced this when working with clients on CRM onboarding, right? Is they want to jump in and automate a whole bunch of unproven stuff, right? They want to invest all this time in building out a funnel that's never had a single lead come into it and then go test that out. They don't even know if there's a match with the market and they're ready to build and invest heavily in a huge funnel, right? So in the same way, you can go build out really complex, fancy agents to do things that don't actually take up that much of your time or that there's no market for.
Right.
So let's, like you said, listen to what the market is looking for, right? Oftentimes that starts with ourselves. What's the gap in our own business or in our own day? And how do we optimize that? Almost all of my businesses have been some spinoff of an existing business, filling a need we had in that business or for the same customer base where we saw the need.
Yes. Yeah. Amen. I still sell this campaign to Infusionsoft users for doing outbound prospecting. And it just tracks the call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just an internal form. And it's just radio buttons. So you can only select one. Which call was this? What was the outcome? You have like 5 or 6 options: left voicemail, not interested, needs to delay, whatever. So you come up with your options, and then it does the whole spider web cross referencing. If it was call 1 and this outcome, not interested, then remove, from the sequence, blah, blah, blah. No answer, left voicemail. Okay. Send email number 1, create task number 2, create task call number 2 in 1 day, 2 day, whatever. So three clicks, boom, boom, boom. And it's like, that saves you, let's say, 5 minutes. Because most people, let me pull up the contact and copy the email. Let me type up a message. They don't even use a template. I mean, God forbid you use a template built into Outlook, built into Google, built into, you can email from Infusionsoft. You can email, you can embed if you have HubSpot, the templates within Google, within Outlook, but they'll type it all from scratch. Then they'll forget. That email doesn't get sent because something else comes in. They go back later. Oh crap, there's a mess. Never mind. I won't send that. Oh, did I mark that as complete? Did I reschedule? You forget to reschedule. You forget to make call number 2. Right. So boom, boom, boom. 3 clicks, done. If you do that 12 times a day, and save 5 minutes, I just gave you back an hour of your life for the rest of your life.
Huge.
And I give you 100% utilization, assuming you can click 3 buttons. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to say if somebody makes the call with that internal form, they will click 3 buttons. So they will be 100% utilization. So how many more leads do you reach? Just run your math. Those convert. But I tell people, let's say it takes us 8 hours to build that first campaign for you because it's all brand new and we're talking through things and what's the best. Should you email from internal? Should you copy and paste? Should we use Zapier if we need whatever? Okay, so we build it. It takes 8 hours. But now you save an hour a day for life. So 8 days from now, you're neutral. You've regained 8 hours.
ROI'd it so fast.
But now to build the second one, we can clone the first one probably. But now you're conversant at least. So now it takes 4 hours to build the second one, and that's a 7-minute task. And then it takes you 2 hours to build a third one.
The other nice thing there too, Wes.
And then they're like, and that's how I've sold so much stuff. I just fix these little things that I'm like, oh no, you're on your own. Go fix that thing with 87 nodes. No, I ain't touching that. API call, HTTP post. I'm like, I am not your guy.
No.
Call Jeremy. That dude's smart.
The other neat thing, what you're talking about there too, Wes, is the consistency, right? I mean, you work with renegade sales teams that, it's a wild west of everyone's doing things their own way and their own statuses if they even track it all, right? And now you've got consistency. Now you've got good data going in, which gives you good data coming out. That's so powerful that you can't do without a good system like that.
Right. And I was that renegade. That's why I'm on my own, man. I was unemployable, right? Because I'm like, this is stupid. Why do we do it this way? Just shut up and enter it in Salesforce, then enter it in Siebel, then enter it in Excel, then export it to a PDF, then email your boss. I'm like, no.
I want to make some calls.
I'm like, I don't get paid for that. So here we are. You remember what's the the Star Trek where he games the system and he wins? Now I got to look it up.
Are we talking TNG here?
It's from the movie. So okay. they give all these new, potential officers something Maru. Now I got to type it into ChatGPT. It's an unwinnable scenario, right?
And I mean, that sounds like war games from the 80s.
Yeah. Shall we play a game?
Right. The only solution is not to play.
All right, hold on. Captain Kirk games the system to win. What's it called? The Kobayashi Maru. Come on, man. You haven't heard of this? So this is with the new Captain Kirk. And I like that dude. I think Chris Pine. I think it's him. But so he gamed the system, right? So because the simulation, so I just wanted to see how these guys handled stress, and that what is their decision-making process, like, oh, this is bad. Oh, it's getting worse. Oh, I'm going to die. Everybody's going to die. And he's like, I don't want to lose. So he figured out how to hack the system and he won. So now everybody's like, how did this guy win? And then they're mad. They're like, well, you cheated, and he's like, I won.
All the
you're
rules
supposed
of the
to
game.
be training us to defeat the enemy and bring our crew home alive. So it's like, so I would do that at my different companies. I got to know the IT department. I could be BCC. I bought my own BlackBerry in the early 2000s. I got notifications instead of waiting till I got to my room late at night. I'm like, I'm going to win regardless of the issues and the obstacles you put in front of me. So,
well, this is like, we see this all the time in businesses, dashboarding KPIs, right? Whatever key performance indicator you put out there for your team, guess what? They're probably going to hit that. So the question is it a KPI that matters? And are you okay with hitting that number no matter what? And so what we usually find is you dashboard a KPI. The team hits that and you realize you don't like how they got that. So you adjust it and you kind of keep, moving the levers. And the classic one, you and our audience, I think, would appreciate is on the sales side. You tell your sales team they got to hit a certain volume, a certain number of sales. And so the next thing you know, say at a car dealership, your salespeople are out there and they're moving volume, taking a loss on every unit. And so now they hit the number you wanted, they hit the volume, but you lost money. So is that really the KPI you're looking for? And this is something, even smaller businesses without a sales team often make the mistake of doing. You chase a number like gross sales or sales volume without any regard to profitability or without any regard to customer lifetime value, without looking beyond that sale. And yet, where does sustainable business come from? Not just pouring in, dumpsters worth of leads at the top of the funnel, but actually optimizing and getting better at what comes through the funnel and qualifying and improving what comes out the bottom. And then we can look at customer lifetime value. And that's where so much growth can happen.
Yeah. So here's a quick question. Thank goodness for long-standing, smart, patient, entrepreneurial friends to put up with this technological. So you're going to be my last of the sales podcast purists, you're my first on this new microphone. You're going to be my last with the AirPods. Everything's changing. You're bringing about change, Jeremy. You're teaching an old dog how to do new tricks. So I appreciate it.
Right? Continuous never-ending improvement.
Man. So why'd you write this book? Let's talk about you some more, shall we? Your business growth playbook. Who wants a book? It's all AI. I've got an AI widget that's going to read your book and summarize it to me and give me like 2 pages. So, why not just give me an AI widget of your brain?
It's funny you mentioned that because one of the things I've been doing during this whole book publishing journey is sharing the manuscript out with beta readers ahead of time, right? Getting that early feedback.
I'm an alpha reader. I'm never beta, but anyway.
All right. And some alpha readers. All right, Wes. So we got that manuscript out early, and it's really good when you know who your target audience is and you give them first access, right? We talk about MVP, getting your minimum viable product out there, getting early feedback and iterating. Well, I've been doing that since the earliest drafts of the manuscript. and hearing back from my ideal reader about what's confusing, what they love, what they want some clarity on, and so on. And so the manuscript's gotten revised along the way. And as I've been sharing this out, what I found is that some folks were saying, man, I love this, but like I'm a podcast person, right? Or I'm an audiobook guy. Do you have an audio version of the book? Well, not for the first drafts, no. But wouldn't you know, Wes, AI can do a great job summarizing my whole book. So yeah, I fed the manuscript in. I got out a wonderful, notebook LM style, 2 talk show host banter format going over the entire book. And that's available free online for folks. That I was getting really good feedback from people on saying, I love what you put together. This book is fantastic. The audio overview of the book is great. But for me, I'm one of those dual path reader guys. I like to read, skim, go forward, back, and move around. So I took that AI audio transcript and fed that back in and got out my transcript of the audio, which I could then read. So we took my original work from, almost 30 years of my experience working with business owners, distilled into a book. We then got the AI audio summary and then the AI transcription. And so we have all these great derivative works from that, depending on the format you're looking for. But the actual playbook I put together, Wes, can be read cover to cover, right? But this really is meant to be a playbook. You crack open, go to the section you need the most right now. I have indices in the back by industry. So if you're an e-commerce company or you're a consulting company or you're an agency, whatever your business model is, I've got your short list of strategies that are going to work best for you, given your business model, industry, and so on. So it's really giving you the higher level, simple formulas, which you don't need AI to summarize for you, is, one-line formulas you can use in your business to incrementally grow, not just revenues, but also profitability, right? Yeah. And then I give you the experiments to run in your business. Because sure, AI can summarize it for you, but is AI going to go test an idea in your business, make the changes in your business, see what's working and incrementally improve? Not quite yet. We're getting there. But for now, you still have to choose the strategy that makes the most sense to you, that you can try in your business. And we give you the examples of businesses like yours, big and small, that are using the exact strategies in the playbook in their business to grow the revenues, grow the profit. And then we give you the questions to ask yourself in your business about how to implement that. So you can go out there and test and MVP this and look for that little win and then repeat.
Yeah. And I think that's like newbies or amateurs or small time players. You know who you are if you struggle with this idea. If you think, I only need guaranteed stuff, like there are no guarantees. You have to be willing to commit some percentage of your revenue towards testing, validating some ideas. Now, you come to old dudes like Jeremy and me to narrow those down. I got some gray, baby. Look at this beard. Beard's gray.
I got some wisdom here. It looks good.
Yeah. So, instead of having 100 ideas to test, we're going to help you narrow it down to 3. Okay. But you got to test.
The testing thing I love, right? Like at the end of the day, it's good to hear shortcuts about what to test, but then you still have to test that result for yourself. Years ago, Russell Brunson was putting out a book on split tests, and I contributed a number of the tests that got published in that book. Things like, do you use the red button or green button, blue arrows or red, you put the time or not the time, all this kind of stuff, right? And the result from that, the takeaway isn't you should use a red arrow, not a blue. The takeaway is this test result didn't matter, had no impact. This one did for me. Maybe you should test it for yourself.
Yeah. But people don't want to get that granular, but that's why you got to hire somebody. You got to hire a coach. And, I'm like everyone else, man. I struggle tooting my own horn still to this day. I have always sold other stuff better. I've sold a lot more software than my own coaching services. But man, just like AI, the light has broken through the clouds of my brain and I see the light. I see the light because I'm in a coaching program. And I had been half-ass paying attention for a long time in this group. And I finally started focusing and the breakthroughs came. And I'm like, okay, it sounds self-serving, but it's like, hire me, hire Jeremy, join our groups, get our emails, but read them, listen. And if we're not resonating, unsubscribe, but go find somebody that pushes you, because this crap is all hard. and you've got to buckle down for a minute until it's maybe not easy, but less hard. And then you'll get the breakthroughs,
There's a few pieces there, Wes, right? Like one, you're spot on, right? Get the help, whether it's a book, whether it's a coach, a consultant, a group, right? These are all valuable. Like that's step one. We've all got to do that. Step two, though, is just like you said, start paying attention and tuning in, right? Buying the book and putting it next to your bedside table and never cracking it open doesn't do you any good. Filling a bookshelf with books you've never read doesn't do you any good, right? So that step two is actually show up, pay attention, read it, take the notes, go to the conference, and so on. But the third, and this is what actually drives the change, right? We all know it comes down to implementation. There's a story many of our listeners might know. It's been reused through cultures everywhere over generations, right? But one of the early versions, like Aesop's Fables, you might say this is, different versions even in the Bible. But the version I love is Hercules and the Wagoner, right? So for our listeners who don't know the story, there's this guy out with his cart and oxen pulling him along the old road, and his wagon ends up getting stuck in a rut. We use the phrase, "I'm stuck in a rut." This wagoner was literally stuck in a rut. So he gets off the wagon and he's like, "Oh, like Hercules, come help me. I'm stuck." And he doesn't do anything. He just is like, "Hey, somebody come save me. Come do something. Come help me out." And so Hercules comes down and he's like, "What do you want me to do? Like, you haven't even done anything. Have you even urged your oxen on? Have you leaned your shoulder into the cart and tried to actually get it back on the road? Like, you've done nothing except ask someone else solve this for me." Right? So the wagoner, grumpily urges his oxen on and leans into the cart. And what do you know, like, is able to push between himself and the oxen, gets the cart out of the rut by him doing something, and he's on his way. Right. And so it's not a matter of like, "Hey, thanks, Hercules, for doing it for me." It's I just need to be reminded that I've got to take some action. So when you get that book, you get that coach, that group, that consultant, whatever, right? Good job signing up. Good job going through and paying attention to understanding what you're supposed to do. But excellent job actually taking action and doing something. That's what makes change in our business and our lives and so on. Implementation.
So look, a couple things. One, you name drop Aesop tales. Look, you didn't know the Kobayashi Maru, so you're still, kind of suspect to me. But I mean, that's a good one. You get a little street cred there. But yeah, I tell people all the time, it's literally the answer is within. A good mentor, guide, coach, wizard, whatever you want to call us, just pushes you and holds you accountable. 8.5 years I've trained jiu-jitsu, sore, beat up, but I got buddies, I got smart people that, let me show up.
Did you get better on the mat by staying at home thinking about it?
Right. Well, we always laugh, like, "Man, you've been watching YouTube videos, huh?" And so like when COVID hit, right, there's this company called BJJ Fanatics. And I had been training for a few years. I never bought any of their stuff. I follow them on social media, get some tips. But they said, "Hey, we're all home and I want to do my part. Here's a link for a free video. Pick anything." I was like, "Okay." But he was a smart marketer. Once you got your free one, he said, "Hey, here's a coupon for 50% off a second one." And I'm like, "You know what? This dude's giving, and boom, I'll buy one at 50%. That's a good deal." So now I got two because they're like $70 a piece or something, back then 5 years ago. So 70 or $100. I mean, not expensive, but not cheap either. I mean, but I'm like, okay, now I got two of them for $35. And so one of them was 90 minutes long, man. And we were just starting to get back. The school was just starting to open back up. But I spent 90 minutes watching half of it. I mean, 90 minutes to get through 45 minutes. And it's teaching just one attack. And I kid you not, I went to class. I went to a morning class, actually, one of the few times I went to a morning class. And so I'm like, "Hey, I want to try something." So we start in a certain position and says, "Okay." Within 6 seconds, I screwed up the technique. I'm like, "Stop." Busted my phone out, logged in. I'm like, "Damn it." I spent 90 minutes studying a move and I couldn't do 6 seconds of the move. It's until you go hands on, it's all just theoretical.
Right.
You got to go hands on.
Everyone's got a plan until
they get punched in the face.
That's great.
Napoleon says, right? No plan of attack survives engagement with the enemy, but you still plan. So yes, writing it out is fine. Thinking about it is fine. You've got to pull the trigger and ride the bullet, see where it goes.
Yep. So much of that is I mean, showing up is a big part of it, but it's not 100% of the equation. But you do
Yeah.
have to show up. You do have
Yeah.
to get in the ring.
Got to get in the ring. It's scary. But, when you got somebody pushing you, supporting you, it helps. So get somebody and get your book, right? Yourbusinessgrowthplaybook.com. That's the URL.
Yes. Yourbusinessgrowthplaybook.com.
Okay. And by the time people hear this, well, I'll publish this right away, but they can pre-order, and they've got what? You got some other goodies they can get now?
Yeah, so you can that audio overview we were talking about is available on the site. You can also download, the first bit of the book if you want to get a feel for me and like who is this guy and do I like his style. That's available for you, as well as some other goodies and bonuses. So you can find out everything you need about the book, about the process, the formula we use, and why this playbook even exists. And that's all at Your Business Growth Playbook.
Yep. Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for being my first, my technical issue.
I got you.
It's been good, bruh. It's been good.
Yeah, bruh. Have you
Was
seen
it
that
good for
shirt
you?
that says like, dada, daddy, dad, bruh?
Yeah. Like, no.
It's the evolution from those kids, huh?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'm gonna play your grandkids for a minute and go to jujitsu and choke the life out of some people. It keeps me calm. Attempted murder keeps me calm.
I'm gonna change my audio because I think the landscapers realize we're done recording here.
Nice. All right. Well, good point to wrap it up. Well, Jeremy Shapiro, thanks for coming back on the show. Great catching up with you, man. Have a good one. Hey, thanks for putting up with any kind of issues that may have come through there. You can see using a different angle, different lighting, going black and white. I don't know what's happening. I got a new camera, still having issues, but it could be the lighting, could be the backlighting. There's always something, but at the end of the day, you got to keep pushing through, right? It was good catching up with Jeremy. He sent me this little blurb, so I want to make sure I repeat it so you know how to reach him, right? But his book of tried and true strategies. Get it today, right? It's called Your Business Growth Playbook. You can get it on Amazon, your local bookstore. If you'd like a sample of his book right now, because if you're listening to this before September, then it's not out yet, but he's giving you a sample, okay? You can get your very own complimentary growth checklist, okay? Visit yourbusinessgrowthplaybook.com right now for Jeremy Shapiro's stuff. I had another guy on the podcast yesterday. I'll get that published soon. Jason Benedict. I've known him through the Infusionsoft community for many years. Saw him last fall. Smart guy. I am catching up on Saturday with Partiv Shah, another guy I've known through Infusionsoft for many, many years. These are some smart people making good money, doing good business, doing good things. But this using AI to streamline things is here, and I think it's the future. I talked about it this morning on my inner circle, which you need to join. Okay. I have not stressed that enough. And it's because I wanted to make sure I was bringing you something new. I've been studying stuff, mostly jujitsu, for the last several years, honestly. I didn't want to bring you the same old, but I see it now. I've got some new excitement. And, I found this, I came to this new vision, this new excitement, this new enlightenment, because I'm in groups. I'm in multiple groups. And so I've been learning, I've been applying stuff to myself, my own business, but very slowly, not as quickly as I needed to. And, hey, I'm human. I built up savings, had residual income, got some investments, but it's like, it's time. I got 4 grandkids now, and I'm not anywhere near creating the legacy that I want to create and leave behind. So fortunately, I still feel good, 55. I was talking to Partiv this morning as we were scheduling this call. He's like, so is this West 2.0? I'm like, man, this is like West 3.0, 4.0, maybe 5.0. It depends on when you want to define where does 1.0 start and 2.0 begin, right? It was the military 1.0. It was getting out of the military, jumping into sales. Was that 2.0? Starting my own thing in 2006. Was that 3.0? Branching into HubSpot and Entreport away, not necessarily away, but I mean kind of away from Infusionsoft, but not solely focus on them. Was that 4.0? So this could be 5. I don't know. You gotta keep pushing, right? And sometimes things are hard. I get it. I'm talking to a friend of mine. I know through the academy, known for 35 years, and going through a tough negotiation lawsuit with some people, sold her a house and didn't disclose the proper things. And she was having a moment, But we talked, and these people a year ago, almost July, August, 9 months ago, gave her a stupid lowball offer, like $5,000 on something that has cost her over $100, and now through attorneys and everything else, well over $100. And today they came back with $97,500, and she was still kind of stressed and down. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You took these people, what can I say about them? These are older people. They're people of means. They own multiple properties. They know what's up. And they pulled a stunt on a single mom, veteran. She's still in the reserves, and she's winning. And so I tell you this, it's when you're eating a shit sandwich and taking a lot of bites without even any bread, it can feel daunting. But you've got to look back, like in jiu-jitsu, you don't feel like you're getting any better because your peer group, the guys you're in with, you're still winning and losing the same ratio. You're like, am I getting any better? But then when new guys come in, you crush them, So people would say, today, can you beat yesterday's version of yourself? It's like, yeah. Can I beat the version of me that started this journey in January of 2017 with ease? Okay. So if you think you're late to the AI game, you're not. If you think you're late to automation, you're not. People are just, they're nibbling around the edges. Most people are distracted, disjointed, incoherent, terrible sales messaging, looking at 100 different things to do instead of mastering one. I'm getting close to my black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I always told people, like, I thought I would know a lot more things before I got, at this level. And talking with the higher blue belt or black belts, my instructor's 5th degree, another one's the 3rd degree. And these guys are stone cold killers. And, they talk about this. Like, look, a black belt doesn't mean you've mastered every single move. It means you've mastered your moves. And you can inflict your game. You can inflict your will on your opponent, regardless of their game. And that makes sense, right? It's like football. I played ball through high school and college, and you have your game. The Air Force Academy, we do that, the triple option. We have not changed that triple option in 40 plus years. So are we the best, deep passing game? No. So does that mean we're no good because we've only mastered, one offense? Well, we haven't been good lately, but you get my point, right? It's like, be proud of what you've mastered. And in looking back, like when I was really making crazy good money with ease, new money every month, new residuals every month, I was very narrowly focused. Okay. So success is really, it's more about what do you say no to? So you can focus on what you're great at. And when you focus, when you niche down, it doesn't mean you can't do the other things. But it means you get to choose when to do the other things, because people will come to you. Say you're a plumber, right? You only work on single family homes, or let's say you only work on commercial. Somebody calls, oh, it's an emergency. Well, I don't really normally do that, but yes, I am a plumber, and I just poured a beer and steak's coming off the grill. Oh, pay anything. All right, so you can charge. Hey, all right, $1 million. Yes, come, save my Persian rug, whatever. Right? Some of you can pick your terms, name your price. Okay, I'll come over. And so being narrow in your focus doesn't limit you, it frees you up. And so trust me when I say, I'm not telling you this. I'm talking to myself. So I just let you listen in. So thank you for allowing me to vent and get my therapy session going here. But seriously, I hope I like the episode. Jeremy's a stand-up dude. I am making some changes, and I'll figure it out. Fortunately, I've got a good Rolodex of people that are lining up to talk with me. Praise the Lord. They're a bad judge of character. What can I say? But I'm getting advice and wisdom from them. I'm asking the real questions. It's what I've always done. And fortunately, y'all think I'm a real dude, and it comes across. And these interviews are unscripted, and I'm just curious. But I'm telling you, this AI stuff, there's a lot of noise. Just like 1995, 2000. Oh, the internet's going to change everything. What does that mean? Too many people don't get down to the specifics. So drill down, niche down, find one irritating little thing you can automate and get rid of out of your daily day-to-day life, and you'll be much better. And then you'll learn. Okay, then you can build another one and another one. If you need help, call me. I'm going to have Jason on. Call Partiv. Call these guys. They'll help you. But you want to get ahead of this curve. If you miss the CRM marketing automation craze, late 2000s, late 2000s up to 2010, 11, 12, and then it was really in full swing. HubSpot was kicking butt, and became a multi-billion-dollar company. And again, I've got automations running since 2008. So can you get some automations, some agents running since 2025? Because you know what? 5, 10, 15 years are going to go by in a hurry. So don't turn a blind eye to this. I'm not saying don't lie to people, don't trick people, don't make them think they're talking to you when it's a robot, right? When it's digital, but use these tools to become more efficient. I mean, it's just like a mechanic, right? A good friend of mine I do jujitsu with, they have power tools, right? Pneumatic drills. You wouldn't go there if they didn't have power tools, if they didn't have lifts, things, pump that oil. Like, it makes them more efficient. So for you to say no to these types of AI tools that can help you grow, you're just crazy. Okay. You're like the shade tree mechanic. You're treating your business as a hobby. So find someone to help you get up to speed. Okay. Join my inner circle, hire a consultant, join a mastermind, whatever, but you got to get ahead of that. All right. And stay tuned to this. I may just tweak the name of the podcast, the Selling with AI podcast. I don't know. Maybe just put it right on top. So just stick around, keep paying attention. If I do make a new channel, I'll let you know. I'll do an intro to that. I'll link over to it. But I'm easy to reach. Okay. Check out thesaleswhisper.com. I'm using Substack now. I'm going to be talking about that in the coming months. Simple, streamlined. It's the same reason I went to an iPhone years ago off of Windows phones and all these other things. I don't want to mess with these tools. I want to just create, and it's so refreshing. I'll write in a markdown editor and just copy paste, boom, 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 and I can paste it into LinkedIn. And I built a tool to share all that, but I haven't finished it. But I'm eating my own dog food. I look at things that are taking my time, wasting my time, irritating me, and I figure out a way to automate it. But streamlining email with Berserker Mail through Ben Settle, Troy Broussard. I want simple. I want to free up my time, save money, be more efficient, more effective, get the word out, and start doing more events, live events online, but live events in person. So use these tools. The world is changing. SEO is changing, how AI indexes and bubbles you up, gets you found. You've got to pay attention. Okay. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll go sell something.